Not all famous people leave the stage in a way that honors their illustrious careers. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, declared, "I won't," in answer to Ginger Alden, his fiancée, requesting that he not doze off in the restroom via the Express. However, some people have literally renowned last words that are completely appropriate for their life and profession, such as Albert Einstein, who, according to History Info, stated, "I've done my fair share. It's time to leave. I will do it elegantly." On the other hand, some famous people's final remarks are downright eerie. In today's video, we're going to look at some of such celebrities and go back in time to see what they uttered on their deathbed. I'm losing it. Frank Sinatra. Francis Albert Sinatra had a genuinely remarkable career in terms of his breadth of his accomplishments and the amount of time he spent in the spotlight. According to Sinatra.com, he started playing music as a teenager and by his mid-20s was beginning to draw attention from a wide range of sources. He became famous during the 1940s war and started a career trajectory that, with a few minor lulls, would not truly settle until his health failed him in the 1990s. According to Celeb Answers, Sinatra just whispered a few brief words to his grieving wife, Barbara, at the conclusion of his long and illustrious life. Sinatra stated, "I'm losing it," as he lay sick and frail in a hospital bed in Los Angeles, his body failing from a heart attack, one of several the 82-year-old had experienced by the time of his death on May 14, 1998, and he did that fast enough. Shortly after saying these words, Sinatra passed away. His prescience about his impending death is completely haunting from one perspective, but it may actually be comforting from another. Sinatra at least seemed to have been aware that his role had been completed. I'm going away tonight. James Brown. James Brown, the hardest working man in show business, felt the same way as Frank Sinatra, who seems to have realized his time was running out, and Brown's final comments were unnerving and reminiscent of Sinatra's. Brown experienced congestive heart failure on the morning of December 25, 2006. Yes, Christmas morning, but according to TV Guide, he was still able to gasp to his lifelong friend and manager, Charles Bobbitt, the words, "I'm going away tonight." Bobbitt didn't initially think Brown was in any real danger, but as Brown lapsed into unconsciousness, took a few more breaths, and then passed away, he rapidly understood the gravity of the situation. Brown was 73 when he passed away, which, while not young, is a good 10 years less than many men might expect to live in contemporary America. The majority of guys, however, do not devote decades of their lives to performing music live in front of crowds of admirers and consuming a variety of narcotics for extended periods. In the end, Brown's heart could no longer continue to beat since it had undergone too much. For context, consider that Brown was supposed to perform at a New Year's Eve concert a few days after being frail, bewildered, and on the verge of death in the closing days of 2006, according to The Guardian. Just don't leave me alone. John Belushi. Looking back on John Belushi's life and death, which according to Rolling Stone occurred on March 5, 1982, it's difficult to imagine the actor and comedian was just 33 years old. That's partly true given how much Belushi accomplished in such a brief period, from his several iconic parts on Saturday Night Live, where he was one of the original 7 cast members, to his never-to-be-forgotten performances in films like The Blues Brothers and Animal House via NBC. It's also accurate because, let's face it, Belushi appeared far older than 33 at the time of his passing. The actor's body had been ravaged by more than 10 years of heavy drug use and a generally unhealthy lifestyle, and during the latter days of his life, he appeared to be a good 10 years older than he actually was. In reality, he overdosed on drugs after receiving an injection of a so-called speedball, a combination of heroin and cocaine. The medication was administered to Belushi by his friend and drug dealer Catherine Smith, and according to Phrases, it was she who overheard his final words, "Just don't leave me alone." However, Smith left him alone and later received a manslaughter sentence for the actor's passing. I'll be fine. Heath Ledger. Actor Heath Ledger should have seen his career take off at this stage when he passed away in January 2008 from an accidental prescription drug overdose. Instead, according to Rolling Stone, it was shortened at age 28. The actor's last comments reveal that he had no desire to pass away, but rather that he was in a profound state of denial. The Australian actor's final words were, "Katie, I'll be alright." Katie was his sister. When his sister cautioned him against combining so many different medications, Ledger, who had claimed he just needed to get some sleep, confessed to her that he had taken several other prescription drugs. He then uttered his tragic and wildly inaccurate final words. In the late Ledger system at the time of his death, toxicology tests revealed oxycodone, hydrocodone, diazepam, temazepam, alprazolam, and doxylamine were present. Ledger had a young child and was about to start filming the Oscar-winning part of the Joker in the blockbuster The Dark Knight. Instead, he passed away alone and high on a potent combination of narcotics, much like Elvis Presley. Don't Leave Me, Chris Farley. It's almost as if these two men's lives followed the same script, with a few ad-libbed moments and a 15-year gap between them. The similarities between the lives and deaths of John Belushi and Chris Farley are so startling as to be unsettling. Like Belushi, Farley began his career in comedy at the renowned Second City Theater in Chicago through the Second City, and after spending several years as a cast member of Saturday Night Live in the 1990s, he went on to achieve national and even international acclaim. Like Belushi, Farley had prominent roles in many movies that will probably never be forgotten, like the popular comedy Tommy Boy. And like Belushi, Farley passed away at 33 from a drug overdose, lying alone and in sorrow. His final known statements are practically a verbatim repetition of Belushi's. Silver Lining Recovery claims that Farley's last words to someone else were, "Don't leave me." Tragically, this conversation took place with a rumored sex worker who, before leaving him to die alone in his Chicago apartment, grabbed his watch and took pictures of the actor and comedian as he lay on the floor, close to passing away. When Farley passed away, it was discovered that he had been using alcohol, cocaine, morphine, and marijuana. The fact that Farley had been enrolled in a recovery program only a few months before his passing deepens the grief. I'll be back in 5 minutes, alright? Paul Walker. At least in the sense that he lived through his role as Brian O'Connor in the Fast and Furious film series, Paul Walker died as he lived, and that is to say that he passed away in a collision brought on by losing control of a vehicle traveling far too quickly. According to CNN, there is a better than average possibility that Walker's last words were given to his driver and fellow crash victim, Roger Rodas, after his 2005 Porsche Carrera GT smashed into a lamppost and several trees. The actor's final known comments, however, are chilling due to their clarity and subsequent accuracy. Walker said, "Hey, I'll be back in 5 minutes, alright?" as he exited a charity event to take his sports car for a little drive. Instead, Walker would pass away in a matter of minutes with such severe burns and body damage from the collision that it would take medical professionals looking at dental records to identify Walker's body. Walker leaves behind a teenage daughter and a body of work full of movies about speed demons in cars. You see, this is how you die. Coco Chanel. Up until her very last words, iconic fashion designer Coco Chanel was larger than life. At least after Chanel established herself in the first half of the 20th century, everything about her was out of this world. She was born to parents who were practically living in squalor and was given the name Gabrielle Chanel. According to The Guardian, Chanel pulled herself up by her bootstraps, using her wit, charm, and undeniable talent as a designer and businesswoman to start an empire that included apparel, accessories, perfumes, and more. The 87-year-old Chanel was well known at the time of her death in 1971. In fact, she had become more of a brand than a person at that point, with her legacy completely secure. Despite being very old, Chanel did not appear to be unwell, according to the New York Times, so it is apparent that she understood when her time was running out. Her final words, in keeping with her nature, were a flourish to cap off an incredible, albeit contentious, existence. You see, this is how you die, Chanel allegedly told her maid Celine on January 10, 1971, and shortly after, she actually did that, turning her bed into a deathbed. Perhaps there is something that folks who are near death learn or perceive that we who have our feet firmly planted in the living world miss. Sometimes the eerie remarks uttered by dying celebrities were pleas for assistance from those yearning to survive. In other instances, they are a complete mystery that won't be clarified. These legendary celebrities' parting statements are quite ominous. What are your views on this? Can you recall any celebrities' last words which left you with goosebumps? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more content.